In this segment, I want to introduce radio scanners. It's a fun little hobby, and that's just about it. It's just a hobby. Unlike computers or cars, you're going to spend a bit of money on a radio scanner, and it's not going to turn the kind of profit you could get with a computer, because with a computer, maybe you can do some kind of coding or repair work, same with a car. Don't watch this segment and go, oh my god, I can intercept all radio all around me. I have to get the most expensive radio scanner. Don't do that. A lot of times if you want to go and buy a radio scanner, some of the features to look for will vary between different models, and I'll explain these three in front of me in a moment. You can actually go and buy them used. A lot of the scanner guys and amateur radio guys they take very good care of their equipment. So this scanner right here, which is a very modern Radio Shack Pro 95 dual trunking scanner, with 1,000 channel memory and computer interface, as well as programmable search functions and, like I said, dual trunking capabilities, would probably run you about $200 retail. You could probably get it used for about $100. This is a Radio Shack Pro 63 scanner. The frequency coverage isn't as great. This actually covers between 29 megahertz all the way up to 1.3 gigahertz with some gaps in the frequency bands, which I'll explain in a moment. This is a Radio Shack Pro 63. It can go from 29 to 512 megahertz, of course, again with gaps in the frequency bands. And this is a Bearcat BC700A. This says it goes up to 800 megahertz, but it actually goes up to something like 912 or 915. Now, the real main differences between all of these scanners is their functionality and their frequency range. Now, having a scanner in your car, this is supposed to be a mobile scanner, having a scanner in your car here in the United States, in most states, is actually a crime without a radio license. If you actually have a receiving device that can pick up police, fire, EMS, and emergency frequencies in your vehicle and you're caught with it, it could be a night in jail, possibly fines, possibly jail time, so you've been warned on that one. If you do have an FCC radio license, though, you can go and carry whatever the hell you want on you, whenever the hell you want on you. Now, this is an older scanner. We got something called frequency bands. A frequency band is basically allocations of frequencies designed for specific services. An example, I know CB radio is between 29 and 30 megahertz. 6-meter ham radio is 50 megahertz to 54 megahertz. Remote controls for the garage door openers, security systems, and things of the such are 310 megahertz. Older cordless phones are 45 to 49 megahertz. 900 megahertz phones, the handset is 900 to 915, and the base is 915 to 925. I know pagers reside in the 800 megahertz range and the 512 megahertz range, as well as above 925 megahertz. I know there's trunking data along the lines of 470 to 400, and I do believe 75 or 78, 480 megahertz. Frequency band, basically it's just an allocation plan of what frequency is supposed to do what services. Anyone into amateur radio will already know this. This is something, if you plan on getting into amateur radio, you're going to have to learn. I'll put some more information in the show notes. I've already spent too much time on this. But anyway, some of the fun things you can do with a radio scanner besides just receive radios, you can also receive data, which I'll leave for a future segment. Now, this scanner, because it's older, it has lower frequency coverage. Like I said, it goes up to about 512 megahertz. Now, there are certain frequencies that are deemed unadmissible for interception. So, like things like in the 830 megahertz frequency band, there was the old pager data, not old pager, old cell phone for the AMP system, where if you were to intercept that and decode that data, you can clone cell phones. So they've actually blocked out certain frequencies. This sports itself as an 800 megahertz scanner to try to get people that are trying to do cell phone cloning to buy it. However, it's been locked out. In this, certain frequencies have been locked out, like 310 megahertz. It's supposed to be a security frequency, so you're not allowed to intercept it. Same goes for this one. This does in fact pick up 800 megahertz and 310. Now the difference between the three of these is this one here and this one here. You can unlock those restricted frequencies by doing a small hardware modification, usually by removing or switching around diodes or resistors. This scanner is all software and firmware controlled, where you can actually use buffer overflows to unlock certain frequencies. Unfortunately, the people that created these buffer overflows do not give information on how to unlock frequencies that could be used in a criminal intent, like cell phones. Okay, so Another difference is what we call the stepping. The stepping is basically the spacing between your frequency. So, example, let's say you have 1 megahertz and 2 megahertz, and you have a 1 kilohertz stepping. That means you'll have 1,000 different kilohertz you can go in, like the increment that you can go through the frequencies. You have 3 common increments. You have 5, 6.5, and 12. Now these two scanners can actually pick up 900 megahertz phones in the 900 megahertz range. The thing is, this uses a 6 kilohertz stepping. This uses a 12 kilohertz stepping. So this is more precise in receiving on the 900 megahertz band. Now, this has actually been programmed to use the most common stepping on the frequencies. So, if you're on a lower frequency, like the let's say like an amateur radio band, maybe you'll have a 5 kilohertz spacing. But if you're on let's say a paging frequency, you might have a 12 kilohertz spacing. So this is actually hard coded, and you can, using some non-proprietary software, which Radio Shack does not want you using, it will void your warranty, you can actually program this scanner to go and scan ranges of frequencies it's not intended. It's hard-coded into this, and it's hard-coded into this, which means if you do a physical modification to these two radios, you might actually break some of its other functionality. Another thing you have to understand when it comes to radio scanners is, just with any radio, you have to have the appropriate antenna. I've already explained some antenna design about how your frequency will determine the wavelength, and the wavelength is directly proportional towards the size of your antenna. I'll put some links in the show notes about designing antenna. You also have to understand proper coax. These are not transmitters. They do not need to have 50 ohm coax. You can use 75 ohm coax, meaning when the cable or satellite guy came by and installed your TV in your satellite box and he left some cable behind, you can use that exact 75 ohm cable to run an external antenna from your scanner to an external antenna. You know what? That's enough lecture. This is going to be I'm trying to keep this a short segment, so I'll give you an example. This is my 900 megahertz cordless phone. Okay, Radio Shack brand model, no thrills, no frills. Radio Shack scanner. I'm going to turn my scanner on, and I'm going to tell it to scan the frequencies from 900 to 925 and see when I can pick up this phone. So I'm going to turn the phone on. See, little red light, it's on. Scanner on. You probably can't see that, so I'm not going to bother. Okay, search. While it's searching, I'll explain something called... Okay, that's not my phone. That's my phone. Oh wait, here we go. There you go, found the frequency. Okay, I could explain squelch. Squelch, basically squelch is an internal filter that discerns static from signal. So when you're using a radio scanner, what the best thing to do is, if you have a very strong signal, turn your squelch all the way up. If you have a low signal, turn it all the way down just before your scanner goes to static. That way you can pick up that low signal. Okay, that's it for that. Now, you can actually use, if you're regulated by the FCC, or the Federal Communication Commissions, whatever the hell it is, you can actually go to their website and go into their database and search their database. If you know the name of an organization, company, business, what the hell ever, that uses uses any kind of frequency, and you want to know that frequency. Like, let's say you have a car service, or around here, the local 2600 people meet up at a building called the Citigroup building. I know I know the location of the building, and I know the name of the building, and just using those two query search terms, I'll show you how you can go and find the frequencies that the people in that building use. I'm going to show you how to go and find frequencies of known locations using the FCC, or the Federal Communications Commission. If you're in the United States, you will be regulated by the FCC. If you're outside of the United States, just skip this part. Go to fcc.gov, and on the right-hand side, in the middle, you'll see bureaus and offices. Go to wireless telecommunications. Okay, the Wireless Telecommunications Bureau, or the WTB, has an online database which you can search different queries. Now, they have general menu reports, which we don't care about. What we want to know is the universal licensing system, because everyone, like every business, every amateur radio operator,
all of them have to have a license, and that license can be searched, and they could be found. In this case, we're going to find out what organization, what company, what business owns a frequency. Now, we don't know the call sign, but we do know the name. Okay, we're going to go to an advanced search. Now, I know the local 2600 groups meet up at a place called the Citigroup Bank, or the Citigroup building here in the city. So we don't know the call sign, we don't know the service group, but we do know that it's CITIGROUP, Citigroup. We don't know the FRN. We know the city is New York, and the state, New York. Don't know the zip code. Everything else leave as default. License detail, all of them. Authorization types, all of them. Frequencies, all of them. And then just click your search. Now it's going to come up with some information. Now here's our call signs. Like I said, every single licensed operator or control point, meaning radio, needs to have a call sign and a lease ID. Now both of these are active. Now let's bring up some information on this. Okay, apparently it's industrial. It's in Greenwich Street, New York, New York. That is the address and phone number of the Citigroup building. Let's check out what frequencies it owns. Okay, two frequencies for the location. 464.75 and 469.75. Got two radios. Well, there's one unit here and 40 units here. Now, the one on .750, the 464.75, has an output power of 25 watts. That's unsafe for any handheld unit that I know of. However, the one that has 40 units at 4 watts, that is safe power output for a handheld radio. So this is most likely, right here, the 469.75 is most likely the radios for all of the janitors, security, and other building workers. And this frequency is probably for the repeater system. So if we tune in the scanner to 464.75, we can go and hit all of the frequencies going across all of the communications in the Citigroup building. So when there's a 2600 meeting, if we cause some trouble, we can hear security coming. Interesting. Very interesting. This also shows that they could be using some kind of digital trunking, which I'm not going to get into today. But there you go. God bless the FCC. If you have just a basic name, city, and even a zip code of a business or some kind of organization that uses radio communications, you can find their frequencies and you can intercept them. This also goes for car service, pager frequencies, wireless internet services, pretty much anything that has a high power radio. You can go ahead and search with the FCC database.
Okay, that's pretty much it. It's very simple. All you need is a little bit of basic information, and you can actually, with some internet access, if you're regulated by the FCC, or just some common knowledge about the frequency bands, you can take a scanner and scan frequencies. Keeping in mind, I forgot to mention that if you actually intercept some kind of communications between cordless phones or cellular phones or private communications, that could be a felony in your country. Here in the United States, it actually is a violation of the Wiretap Act. So if you're going to go and pick up other people's 900 megahertz cordless phones, don't, unless you really want to get arrested. Another thing which I've just blatantly showed you, that 900 megahertz phones are very insecure. Do not spill out or divulge personal information, credit card information, social security, bank account numbers, or any of the things of the such while using a 900 megahertz or lower frequency phone. I'll show you a quick example. This is supposed to be my 5.8 gigahertz phone. This is a 900 megahertz scanner. My phone is on. My scanner is scanning. Right now it's scanning the 900 megahertz band. That's not me. Now I'll just cut over to when it actually finds it. Well, that didn't take long. The reason it was actually picking up all that static and garbage and crap is because the phone was actually too close to the scanner and it was like overpowering it. But just to go to show you that this phone, marketed as a 5.8 gigahertz phone, was just received on, well, I'm not going to tell you the frequency, I'm not an idiot. Bugger off. End of segment.